Joining the podcast is the one and only Alabama icon, legend, fan favorite, what have you, Mr. Nacho Alabamo. What's going on, Nacho?
Man, just living the dream.
So tell me, how did Nacho Alabamo come to be? I heard the legend was born on a trip in Mexico. Is that right?
Yeah, I was on a cruise. The short side of the story is my wife left me unsupervised in Costa Maya for like 2 hours. And I got the poncho first. And then after I bought the poncho, another guy was like, hey, you need a mask for that. And anyway, so I got the mask and went and got back on the cruise ship and went into the bathroom, put on the poncho and the mask, and came out of the bathroom, and my wife was laying on the bed reading, and she was less than thrilled than of the introduction of Nacho Alabama.
So how did you get her to finally let you come to the games dressed as Nacho Alabama?
Well, at first it was she told me that I couldn't do it at all, and I fought with her on that, and finally she's like, "Okay, you can do it fourth quarter only." So when everybody's throwing up four fingers, that was when it was okay for me to put my stuff on. So I did it, and I pretty well stayed right there in our seats. And then the next game was a cupcake game. I don't know who it was, but so she didn't come. So I was unsupervised for the whole game. And so I started walking around. And at first, everybody, nobody knew, everybody just thought I was some kind of weirdo. And so I was walking around, and then all of a sudden somebody was like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, "Sure, man, why not?" So I took a picture with one person, and then it just kept growing from there. And when other people would see somebody taking a picture with me, like, "Oh, ooh, I got to get a picture with that guy," and it just steamrolling, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And anyway, now it's just a whole movement.
So would you kind of carry your stuff in like a bag or something and then go to the bathroom fourth quarter and come back out as Nacho Alabama? How would that work?
Well, I think I pretty much would just put it on in the seats, because I didn't have the hammer at the time. So it was just the mask and the poncho. And yeah, and so that wasn't that hard. I would just put it in the clear bag, and certainly wasn't walking in with it like that, not at that time. But that later that year, I won tickets to the SEC championship when Alabama played Georgia in the SEC championship, and that fantastic comeback with Jalen and two and all that. Anyway, I won the tickets because I was the biggest fan, and I was like, okay, here I am. I got you tickets to the SEC championship. You still hating on Nacho? And she's loosened up considerably, and she's still, well, now she doesn't even try to get me to sit with her because I don't sit down. I'm all over the stadium, lower bowl, upper bowl, home side, away side. I mean, I am always moving. And she doesn't even try. So now when she goes to games, we always make sure she's got a friend to go with her, so she's not sitting there by herself while I'm off acting like a fool.
Well, when you first started Nacho Alabama, did you have any idea that it would kind of become what it's become?
Oh, absolutely not. No, it surprised me just as much as everybody else, I'm sure. I just started wearing it. It was just fun, and I enjoyed it. And then when I started getting to take pictures and meeting people, I realized, people would send me, on Facebook. I started getting more and more people following me on Facebook and Instagram, and they would send me the pictures that they had taken with me. And I was like, just text message them to me. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I, I had no idea it would turn into what it did, though, and it really didn't blow up until I got that picture with Coach Saban. I don't know if you've seen it, but at Baumhauer's, I got a picture with Coach Saban, and I did a little video with that, and it got Barstool Bama reposted it, and all of a sudden it's got over 500,000 views, and all of my social media accounts just exploded. And I went from, having, 100 followers to all of a sudden I've got, 3,000 followers. And then I started posting more videos, and I started having fun with it. It really gives me an outlet for my creativity. And I'm just, I'm a big kid anyway, and so I got this great place that, that I could put stuff out. And social media is fun, Instagram, posting the reels and that kind of stuff. I get a big kick out of it, and I love watching it, as the numbers creep up, the amount of people watching it, or all of a sudden some big name person or Barstool Alabama or somebody like that has 1 million followers, when they repost it, it's just fantastic. I mean, you can all of a sudden see 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I mean, it's like watching a slot machine. It's something I never thought I would get so much joy out of. But yeah, it's really become fun, and I love that people kind of consider me as, a part of the game day experience. And now, it's like, I have to be there. This is something that, I owe it to my fans to be there, and it's just so cool. It's like, when I went to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl this past year, I got to take pictures with a lot of people. And I had one girl come up to me. She said, I've been trying to get a picture with you, my whole time in Alabama. It's my senior year, my final game. I finally got a picture with you. And I was like, that is so cool, it's just neat, man.
You're originally from the Bay Area and you grew up a 49ers fan. Tell me how you ended up, getting over here to Alabama.
Well, I grew up in the Bay Area. That's where I bounced around a lot of places, but I lived, my teenage years in the Bay Area. And I had no clue about college football. I mean, it meant really nothing to me. And it's so bizarre looking at it now. And when I moved to Mississippi and got to the South, it was, everybody was like, who's your team, And I was like, the 49ers. I'm like, no, college. I was just like, I don't know, And it didn't register to me how awesome it truly was until I went to I went to a cupcake game with my son when he was trying to decide where he wanted to go to college. He had a National Merit full ride, and we were going to several of the schools, and we went to a cupcake game, and sitting in Bryant-Denny with all of that, it was just, it took my breath away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what football's about. This is amazing. And I was hooked just at that moment. No doubt, man. Love at first sight.
Well, since you've been an Alabama fan, what have been some of your favorite games or players since, you've become a fan and Nacho's taken off?
Well, I've had some fantastic experiences. I mean, some of my favorite players. I love Jalen Hurts. That guy's just awesome. One of my favorite games was that SEC championship that I got to go to, and with the comeback, Jalen coming in and get silencing all those Georgia Bulldog fans. I mean, it was just fantastic. That was one of my favorite games that I've actually been to. Some of my favorite players, like I said, Jalen and Tua, and and I've gotten to meet a couple of other ones. I haven't gotten to meet Mac Jones, but I mean, I got to meet several. Lance Dickerson. It's just super cool getting to meet those players. And like I went to the SEC Media Day for the past couple of years, and I got to meet Jordan Battle and Bryce Young. He came by, to take pictures, and he stopped. Like they always had a handler. And a guy was like, look, you got to go to an interview or whatever. So anyway, he pointed at me and he said, I'll be back. There's no way he's going to come back. An hour and a half later, he came down the stairs, came straight to me, and got the picture with me. And I was like, oh, man, that's just too cool. And he was like, told you I'd get you. I mean, that guy's just golden. I hope he does so good in the NFL and proves all the haters wrong,
Absolutely. He is a great football player and a great guy for sure. Nacho, let me ask you, speaking of Bryce Young, what were your thoughts on this team last year? And to give you a little two-parter, first of all, what was your thoughts on this team this past year, and what are your expectations for the Tide this coming year?
Well, last year, of course, at the beginning of the season, I just couldn't see anybody that was going to beat us. I thought, oh man, this is the year. This is everything's going to come together. And I thought Jamar Gibbs being part of that I thought it was just we were going to be unstoppable. And it just ended up being such a hard fought season. It seemed like so many of the games, it's like, why are we still why are we still having to fight to win these games, and it's just kind of like the offense just never quite clicked the way it was supposed to. It's like, I don't know. It just seemed like that team just couldn't get its legs up underneath it. And, but I was happy to, that team was fun to watch. And, it was just, getting to go to the Sugar Bowl was nice. I knew there was no way I was going to make it to the national championship in LA. And so whenever they got shifted down to the Sugar Bowl, I was like, hey, I can go to New Orleans. So I looked at it more from that standpoint than being disappointed that we lost 2 games, because, anybody that looks at that, the way that national champion or the way that playoff ran, Alabama should have been in the playoffs. And I believe we beat TCU. Of course, we beat Kansas State, and I don't know if we beat Georgia, but it'd have been a heck of a lot better game than the one that we watched the national championship. Guys eating chicken wings on the sidelines. I mean, it was just Anyway, yeah, the national, that was just a joke of a national championship, and shouldn't have been that way. But this upcoming season, man, there's so many question marks, with Jalen and Simpson, Ty Simpson, and there's so many question marks when it comes to quarterback. And I would love to. I mean, I've heard a lot of talk about how robust our running backs are, and hey, I would be fine with a ground and pound offense. Just punching the ball like the old school. Just driving. Just on the ground, because we've had such awesome, passers for the past 4 years. And now, if we don't have that guy, if Ty Simpson's not that guy, or Jalen Milroe, if he can't step up and be more, if he was more like Jalen, if he's ends up being more like Jalen Hurts, I think that was a fantastic offense, and I think we could go far with it. I'm excited about this season, but I am looking forward to the A-Day on April 22nd to get to see, Simpson and see these guys out there, put together, and that'll make me feel a whole lot better.
Yeah, well, that was going to lead me to my next question, and my final question was, what are your thoughts on the quarterback battle? Do you like Ty Simpson more? Do you like Jalen Milroe more? Do you like a 2-quarterback system? What are your thoughts on that?
To me, it's rare to see I just haven't seen too many of these 2 quarterbacks, systems work with, it just, I know it has in the past, but it just seems like that they don't always work like, as well as everybody hoped they would. I'd love to see Jalen Milroe. We got to see him a little bit, but he didn't have a lot of playing time. I don't think he had time to get comfortable. And I've heard fantastic things about Ty Simpson, man, and that he is the next big quarterback. I don't really know where to stand on it. I mean, it's really going to be an interesting offseason, and to see how these 2 quarterbacks progress together, and which one takes over that role.
Well, Nacho, I appreciate you taking the time to chat some ball with me. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you, my man.
Very good to talk to you too. And man, I hope I get to see you this upcoming season on the quad or in Bryant-Denny. And man, you just keep taking it easy. And of course, roll tide, roll.